What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Good Success Podcast. I am your host, Josh Culler, and today we have a very, very good one for you. We got the doctor in the house, Dr. Forrest Bryant. Forrest, what's going on, my friend?
Hey, Josh. Good to see you, man. Hope everything's going well up there, and thanks for having me on the show today.
Yeah, absolutely. So Forrest is actually a part of our Good Success Mastermind. And so Tom calls Quincy Long, he calls him Yoda. I look at Forrest as like Obi-Wan Kenobi. So I know that's a total compliment too, because he's cool, man.
Well, which Obi-Wan, like Ewan McGregor or like Sir Alec Guinness? I mean,
Alec Guinness is the classic. So
okay, I'll take that. that. My beard's a little short, but maybe
it'll get there. But yeah, no, seriously, you guys, this is going to be an awesome podcast. So we're talking about legacy. We're talking about passive income. We're talking about like Forrest's his view on those topics. And it's just going to be an incredible podcast, a lot of information. So if you guys are watching the video, thank you guys for joining us live right now. If you are coming by way of knowing Forrest and you don't know who we are, we're Good Success, and we have a podcast that we broadcast weekly, and we're actually going to start going bi-weekly very soon here. We're going to start ramping it up because the podcasts are getting some awesome traction, getting a lot of feedback from you guys, so we appreciate it. So we're going to come back around to Forrest here in just a second and get into the interview. But before we do that, if you guys have not already, make sure you have subscribed to the Good Success Podcast. We're on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and SoundCloud. And like I said, we do go Facebook Live very often. We used to be once every Friday at 12 noon Central Standard Time, but we're going to be pushing that to more. We're going to be doing 2 times a week now, and you guys be on the lookout for that. We're going to create a pattern for you guys to be able to join in on those broadcasts. And then also, like I said, we are on all those 4 platforms for the podcast. So make sure you guys subscribe to us. Leave some reviews. We'd love to hear your guys' feedback on that. And then we have our Good Success and Mastermind, which I did mention that Forrest is a part of. Forrest, we've missed you at the past too, man. It's not the same without you. It's really not.
I appreciate you saying that. I missed you guys too. So this incredible for listeners out there, incredible group led by Tom Olson, and just love Tom like a brother, and love you, Josh, and everybody that's involved with that team, and just some really good people. So I know we're gonna come back and use that term a little bit, but some really good people there, and I certainly enjoy you guys and all the guys and all the real estate guys that you guys bring in from all around the U.S. So it's an incredible group. So if you're out there listening, I definitely would check it out.
Awesome, we appreciate that, Forrest. And Forrest has actually been in that mastermind since day one. So he has been with us from the start all the way through, and it is awesome. So we had
it keeps getting better. So good job, guys.
We appreciate that, absolutely. And so we just had our August mastermind wrapped up a couple weeks ago. It went fantastic. Had a lot of good feedback. It was actually at Innsbruck Country Club, which is in Maryville, Indiana. It's a golf course, and that's right outside the room that we had. It was a beautiful view, and so it was absolutely fantastic. The next event is going to be in Miami, Florida, November 8, 9, and 10. If you guys want more information about it, go to goodsuccess.com/mastermind. You guys can find out all the details about that actual event, and then more details about the mastermind itself. We do ask you to fill out an application when you do get there, because we don't let just anybody in the room. We do want to make sure we vet, yes, the volume of deals that you're doing in your business and the scalability of your business, but it's also the type of people that we get in the room. We have a certain culture that we keep in there, and we don't want that to be compromised. So we definitely vet you as a person when we get you on the phone. So make sure you fill out the application, find out more there. And then we do have our Community Go-Giver event dates for next year. I know it's way far in advance, but June 24, 25, and 26 are the dates. So make sure you guys put that on your calendar. If I'm mistaken on those, Kevin, I'm actually going to have you link that below. So Kevin's going to be on the links below. So anything that I'm mentioning here, and then we mentioned about Forrest and his websites, are going to be linked in the comments section below. So the Community Go-Giver event, be on the lookout for that. We do have the videos available from this past Community Go-Giver event, which was July 25, 26, 27. And you guys can go back and purchase those very cheap for what you guys are getting. Absolutely fantastic content. So you guys go check it out. It's going to be a link below, communitygogiver.com. So without further ado, Mr. Forrest Bryant, let's go ahead and get into the interview. Just do us a quick favor. and introduce yourself, who you are, what you do, how long you've been doing it, and then just a brief rundown of your past experience. Let's just say in your industry specifically, maybe not specifically real estate, but let's go back to the dentist days.
Oh, yeah.
Further into it now.
I'll tell you, this question used to be easier to answer, but it gets, it seems like it just gets deeper and deeper, which it should for everybody. I think, as we get more life experiences and learn more things, the story should get deeper and richer, not just in from the financial sense, but from the texture sense. So lots of layers there. But yeah, I used to be a dentist. I guess sometimes I wonder if I'm still a dentist. I don't practice anymore, but had a very successful business down here in Alabama. And I like sharing part of that story because I think it's important for other entrepreneurs. I know you got a lot of business owners on your call, but I started off as an employee in the business, and I worked my way up to being a partner, and eventually became the 100% owner of that business, and then ramped it up and continued to scale until we had multiple locations, and I had multiple other doctors, and had a big team working for me. I don't always tell this part of the story, but I did have some health issues along the way, and so I don't really like talking about that, but it is an important part of my story because there's a lot of people that go through a tough time in business, whether that's a divorce or a disability or bankruptcy. I mean, there's a lot of bad things, or sometimes it could be, and for those real estate people that are listening, sometimes it's a financial crisis. It's out of your hands, and we don't have to look in the mirror too far. Go back 10 years, and a lot of the guys in the real estate industry really got hurt. So it doesn't matter what those are, but you have to overcome that. And so I was able to transition into being the CEO of the business and not having the business 100% on my shoulders. And so business really took off from that point, and we really scaled it up. And I ended up selling that business a few years ago. And along the line, I got into financial planning, and I knew I wanted to help dentists. I knew I wanted to get into a position where I could help other physicians and dentists. And so got skilled in financial planning and business coaching, and I just knew that was going to be part of what I did going forward. So I worked for a big company for a few years and got some experience in insurance and securities, and I just was gaining more skills and gaining more knowledge. And we started our new company a year ago. It's called High Speed Alliance. I guess we'll get into that a little bit more. But before I do that, I guess let me flip it back to where you asked me. Who am I? And I kind of got off on a tangent there. But I really don't. I don't know if I necessarily identify as a dentist anore, but I feel more like I'm a business owner. But more importantly than that, I'm a husband, and I'm a father, and I'm a Christian, and those are the things that are really important to me. And this I'll be honest with you, Josh. It's just me and you here, right?
Yeah.
It's just the two of us.
Nobody else is listening right now.
There's nobody else out there listening. Man, this is a tough week for me and my wife, and that is because we're sending our baby boy off to college. So,
oh no,
there might be, I don't know I don't even know how to do this Facebook Live thing. I don't know. This is my first time, but if you've been through that before, man, send me some love, or send me some, we're going to get through this thing. I know we're going to get around to talking a little bit about legacy. I think, do you say this is a 4-hour show, Josh?
Yeah, it's about 4 hours. That's what runtime is.
I know we're going to talk about that, but that's near and dear to my heart. I love my family, and I love being a parent, and it's just, it's so exciting. You spend all that time and effort and energy raising and coaching and parenting. And then it's like, okay, it's time to spread your wings and fly, buddy. So, that's kind of what we're going through right now. So
gotcha.
It's a little touch and go here around the house this week. We're actually leaving this afternoon to head on down there. So what college did he choose? That's a little bit who I am. Okay.
Gotcha. What college did he choose?
He's going to my alma mater, Auburn University. He's fourth.
Nice.
Speaking of legacy, he's fourth generation Auburn student. So
Awesome. Well, good to hear. So real quick question that you talked about, and I know you very well. I've known you for about 1.5 years now since you started getting involved with Good Success. So I kind of know a little bit about your direction with High Speed Alliance. So first of all, let's hear a little bit about High Speed Alliance, but I'm really interested to hear why you're so passionate about helping the dentists with their financial freedom, with their financial planning. And I mean, I've been to to High Speed Alliance twice now, and these people that are in the room, they absolutely love it, and they find so much value in it. They're always talking about how, they never knew they could do this with their money. They never knew they could do that with their money and that kind of thing. So let's hear about High Speed Alliance first, and then go into kind of why you're so passionate about helping the dentists. And I believe you even have some doctors in the room, if I'm not mistaken.
We do.
So why you're so passionate about helping them with their financial freedom.
Sure. Thanks, Josh. So, High Speed Alliance, it's amazing where we've come. It's only really just been a little over a year since my wife and I launched it. And so really the way that we're structured is we do something that's different than anybody else out there. And we're a registered investment advisor. And basically what that means is we're security licensed, and we're licensed and registered to give financial advice. And so there's a lot of people out there that don't have those credentials that just really can't go some of the places that we go. And when that really comes down to talking about traditional and alternative investments. So obviously, we're talking a lot about real estate today, but really our community is really made up of two parts. So on 50% of that, or one part of it, we usually have physicians, and we have dentists, and we have small business owners, and they come into High Speed Alliance, and we provide services to them. And part of those services are business consulting and life coaching, and then also investment advisory services. So basically, when they come in, almost all of them are business owners, and so we look at the business, and we help them with the business, and we help them optimize the business. And a lot of times that can include implementing systems and processes. A lot of times they want to scale up. A lot of times the business is dependent on them, and they want to get to a point where they have a true business. For those out there listening, if you have a business and it's 100% dependent on you, it's really not a real business. I mean, we could go back and talk about Kiyosaki's quadrants, and
they call that a job, right?
What's that? That's you got. Yeah, and there's a lot of physicians and dentists that they have a high paying job. They make a big wage, but some of them are just really high dollar W-2 employees. They're making a lot of money, but they're not in charge of their destiny. They're not in charge of their life. They don't have control over a lot of things that really matter in the long run, and so they're just highly paid employees. So a lot of times we help them through different techniques and strategies, and sometimes becoming, most of them are owners, but not all of them, but really optimize the business to generate the most active income that they can. And so a lot of times we help them take that and look for different types of investments. A lot of times, I know we're going to talk about passive income today. So a lot of times we optimize the active income, and then we transition a large percentage of that into investments that are going to generate passive income. And so once that passive income comes around, then they're getting up to a certain point where they don't necessarily in retirement. See, what happens a lot of times, Josh, these highly paid employees, they go into retirement, and then, when you turn the switch off, that active income, it's gone, and then they don't have anything behind that. So, we teach them different strategies, how to have passive and semi-passive activities that will generate income. But got a little sidetracked there. But life coaching, really looking at goals, looking at legacy, doing things that matter, looking at the family, looking at transgenerational planning, really forcing them to look long term and to do things that really matter, to really have purpose, and to identify with their why. And then, on the investment advisory, a lot of times they come in, and this gets back to a little bit about your question. A lot of times they come in, and the traditional advice that they get is, work hard, own your business, own your home, and, just sock money away in your 401k. And, what do you do with that money in the 401k? Well, whatever the financial advisor tells you to do. And, most of the time, and I know I step on some toes here when I go there, because I am one, but, a lot of times, not now, but I used to be, but, they get paid on what they sell. And so a lot of times what they sell is Wall Street based products. And so stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and majority of physicians and dentists out there, that's where they're putting their 401k money. And they never know all the other things that are out there. And, a lot of people tell them real estate's risky, and Here's a quote for you today, but an investment that you don't understand is risky. So, you have to understand what you're investing in. And so, on the flip side of this, we open the window and we pull the shades back or pull the curtains back for a lot of these physicians and dentists to see what can happen on the other side. So on the other side, we have consultants that come to our group, and a lot of times they have a service or a product that they provide, and those services or products open the door for our investors or for our capital to go into different types of investments that can generate passive or semi-passive income. Sometimes it's we've got just an incredible group of consultants. I mean, we've got accountants, attorneys, we got anybody related to single family, private lending, self-storage, senior living, multifamily. I mean, there's just a ton of things. And then we even go off the real estate table, and we get into precious metals, and we get into permanent life insurance and just other different types of techniques, tax reduction strategies. Sometimes we look at land conservation easements or captive insurance plans, or doing cost segregation studies, or just different ways where our clients can save on taxes. So, there's a lot of things going on, but, just to kind of back it up to the top, we're kind of the quarterback, and we kind of sit in the middle, and we've got a lot of small business owners that a lot of times they have capital and they need some help and some direction with their business and their finances and their family and their lifestyle. And we expose them to our community, and we have on the other side, we've got consultants that a lot of times can help fulfill some of those things. We do a lot of that in-house, and some of the stuff that we outsource to our other consultants that are able to provide them with, if they want to be a private lender, we've got borrowers. If they want to develop a portfolio of single family homes, we've got property managers and turnkey and active turnkey, different types of, in all different markets all across the U.S. If they want to get exposure to multifamily, we've got syndicators and sponsors that have those types of opportunities. If they want to add some self-storage or some senior living to their portfolio, we can do that. Precious metals. I mean, we basically are building a community where, you can come and you can get a lot of, hands-on relationship-based help to the things that you need along the way to get to where your final destination that you think it should be.
Absolutely. I think that the last part that you said there, the hands-on, the handshaking, the networking, that kind of stuff is very valuable. And like I said, I've been to Forrest's event twice now, but then we also have, so Tom and Jared Soapmeister are both involved with High Speed Alliance. I know Jared was with you guys in Sandestin. Wish I was there, but that's okay. But Jared was there with you guys in Sandestin, and obviously Olson Group is a turnkey provider as well. So Tom goes as often as he can as well. So we're a part of that as well. So we're not just having Forrest sell you guys on this. Like, we're actually in it with him. So you guys know about that. So real quick question, a little bit off topic and a little bit, it's not on our list of questions here. And this might be a very, very loaded question. I'm just curious what your input is. Why real estate and, like turnkeys and buy and hold, stuff like that? Why, or even lending too? Why that versus stocks, bonds, and Wall Street based products?
Yeah, great question. I think it comes down to, it depends. And, I have to be kind of, and I didn't throw my disclaimer out there at the beginning. So here's I'll take I'll do a little star here for a minute, but anything I say is my opinion and for education only. And don't make any plans based off anything you hear on this podcast or any podcast. So, you should definitely make decisions based off of speaking with advisors that know you and your personal individual situation, your objectives, risk tolerance, and what you're trying to accomplish in your time horizon. So anyway, okay, so there's a disclaimer.
Nailed it.
So, all right, so nailed it. So I love single family. I have a single family portfolio. My father-in-law has a single family portfolio. There's a tremendous amount of benefits that come from owning single family homes. You've got leverage. You've got the ability to lock into, even though rates are rising, and I don't know if you want to go there today, but rates are rising slowly. It's not going to kill single family investment for real estate investors. But locking into 30-year money, I mean, you're just you're giving yourself an inflation hedge right there. The ability to depreciate the income that comes in is huge. The ability to have appreciation in the asset that's going to get more valuable. I talk to a lot of real estate investors, some that are fix and flippers and some that are buy and hold, but it's interesting. Some of the buy and hold, it really doesn't matter what market you're in. I mean, if you buy and hold real estate and over 30 years or 40 years, I talked to some guys that have been doing it for a long time. I mean, you don't have to do anything really fancy, but if you buy real estate and hold it for 30, 40 years, there are faster ways to get there, obviously. And that's one thing that we do. I mean, sometimes we're talking about speed and getting there quicker, but as far as, just something that has very low risk and a very predictable outcome. If you're in with good people and you're in the right markets, I mean, that's a very predictable way to go. Your rents are inflation hedged. I mean, if you look at what rents are now versus what they were 30 or 40 years ago, there's so many benefits to that. I guess some of the important things, if you're out there, if you're an investor and you're listening, I mean, you got to make sure that the market is important, but who you're going into business with is even more important than the house. The house is important, but making sure that you're going into business with the right kind of people and the right kind of people that come to Good Success Mastermind that are plugged in with them is a great place to start, because they know what they're doing and they understand, just like I do, that it's relationship based and they're always going to do the right thing for you. So I love single family. I certainly. That's not the only thing that I do, but I do think that it's a great place it's a great wealth building strategy. I mean, the ability to leverage and the ability to appreciate. I mean, you can't get that in all other investments. So, as far as, comparing it to the stock market, there's a lot of really, really smart people out there, and, they really, it's hard to really estimate what's going on with stocks. There are some. I mean, there's plenty of stories where there's been some buy this one and hold it for a long period of time, and there are some definitely some ones that have some really, really good results, but there's also some that didn't turn out so well, and we could certainly go into those, but but you have no security when you're buying a stock. So it could drop 50% tomorrow, and you hardly ever see something like that in real estate. So obviously there's some risk in real estate too, and you got to know you got to be educated. You got to know the asset class and make sure that you're in with the right people. And you can certainly lose money in real estate if you don't know what you're doing. You can lose money in any investment. So, make sure you get educated if you're thinking about going that route. But more importantly, get educated, be in a place where you can learn a lot, and just get educated and be with good people, and don't try to do this on your own, man. It doesn't matter. And that goes, here, I'll give you, here's an Obi-Wan for you. Don't go alone, through this life. And no matter what you do, if that's your business or that's your investing, make sure that you have wise, sage investor mentors that are going to help you, and in a network or a community that you can bounce things off. Trying to do things on your own is a good way to get burned, and in learning by the school of hard knocks. That's one thing. Leverage and speed when you get into a mastermind group is part of the. You got a lot of safety there just by being able to basically a board of directors to run things past before you make decisions. Hey, is this a good idea? Has anybody done this before? Did it work out okay? Where do I need to be careful? What mistakes did you make that I need to avoid? Being in a group can really help you avoid some of the big mistakes and really help you get up the tree quicker.
Awesome. There was a lot of big nuggets in there, guys. I hope that you are taking notes. If you're able to, if you're listening to this podcast and you're on the road or whatever, don't take notes, but make sure you go back and listen to this, because there was a lot of good information in there about that, that I think that anybody can use in general. And we're not even talking about just dentists. Like, that's not advice for just dentists. That's advice for everybody. So I think that's important to understand. So on that same topic, why is passive income, we talk a lot about passive income. Why is that so important to not just you, but anybody else that maybe they don't have passive income, but they need it? Why is it so important to people that already have it? And then if you could go back and maybe explain for our listeners what really passive income is defined by, and then kind of get into why it's actually so important to have passive income.
Yeah. Passive income, why is it important? And I'm going to go a little bit broader here, and I'm not just passive, but let me just say multiple streams of income is critically important. And so, if you're out there listening, whether you're a real estate guy or maybe you're a physician or dentist and you're listening, count up how many income streams that you have. If you've got one or less than three, that could be a problem. Most of the guys, that I run with, sometimes got dozens and dozens of income streams. And so, as far as, having safety nets and contingency plans, when you've got dozens of income streams, you're just, if it's almost the same thing as like, if you had like 24 rental houses and one of them sat vacant for a year, you're probably not even going to feel it at all. So it's kind of the same thing. If you've got dozens of income streams, if one of them changes or modifies, and if you're out there listening, let me just tell you, wake up. Things are going to change. And so your income is going to change, and it may go up, it might go down, then that particular one might stop. It can happen. So, you've got to diversify, and you've got to have other income streams. And so, obviously passive is great because you just get a check and you don't do anything. And so, don't do other than, put your money out there and let your money work for you. A little book, I won't go into it, but The Richest Man in Babylon, I'll just drop that one out there. That's a good one if you want to really understand passive income. But, there's a lot of things that are kind of semi-passive that do require some work. And, most of my clients are physicians and dentists, and they're very busy, and their highest use per hour is doing the thing that they got trained to do. Their highest best use is maybe saving lives or curing cancer or, doing a smile makeover or doing braces or taking out a set of wisdom teeth. Those might be, that's probably their highest per hour thing that they can do. So they need to focus on that. But the money that they bring in, we can show them how to take that and go over and invest in an apartment deal where, that money is going to go work hard and it's got an opportunity to double or triple itself in a pretty short period of time. So, you gotta think about those little dollars as going out there and bringing more dollars home. So that's really their job. You got to put those dollars to work. So they're going out there and, they're coming up with, wires and ACHs and checks that just miraculously end up in your mailbox. So that's where it gets exciting. And the thing, kind of talking back to legacy, I'm always teaching my kids, and so they like that too. They're like, oh, I want to get some mailbox money. How do I do that? So if you haven't experienced that yet, Josh can help you, or I can help you, or there's a lot of places where you can get involved in that, but get involved in a community where you can learn some of those things.
So what's a good place for somebody to start? If they don't have any passive income, they've got one income stream, that's the paycheck that they get biweekly at their job.
Yep.
What would be a good place for somebody to start? This is bringing it way.
Yeah. Well, and this is, and I'll bring it down. Like a lot of times when I have somebody that's new that doesn't know, this is all brand new, and they're like a kid in a candy store, and they're like, oh my gosh, there's like a gazillion things, I want to do them all. Usually I bring it way down, and one of the things I usually start them with is private lending. And so private lending is very, very easy to do. And then basically, I don't know how deep you want to get here, but basically you're going to be the bank, and you're going to lend money out with security, and you can do that with cash, and you can also do it with investment or retirement funds. You can, if it's in the right type of account, which is a self-directed IRA account or some kind of self-directed account. It could be an HSA, it could be a self-directed 401k. There's a lot of different types of accounts that you can do that out of, but you can actually lend that money out as the bank. And I mean, think about it. If almost pretty much everybody that's probably on this call probably, maybe they own a home. And so, think about, your mortgage company that you went and got that loan from for your bank. Once they give you that money, you're going to write them a check every single month plus interest for the privilege to borrow the money. So every month they're going to get a check plus interest. And so, they're not really, maybe they're sending you a bill. Maybe they're not even sending you a bill every month, but they're going to get a check, a lot of times for 15 or 30 years or until that loan gets paid off. And you can put yourself in the same position where you're just going to get a check, principal plus interest, or sometimes just interest only, and then you get all of your principal back on the end. And that's an easy thing to understand. You can do it with very small amounts. You have security in the deal. It's pretty much, like I said, I use the terms passive and semi-passive, but that's pretty passive where you're just getting a check every month. There's a whole lot more to it. That's just kind of a little drop of there's a lot of things you got to understand. And, one of the most important things is making sure that you know who you're lending the money to. The person's really important. The deal's important, but make sure that, please don't listen to this and go out and try to do this on your own. You need somebody to hold your hand to get through multiple deals. So please don't go out and do that on your own.
Absolutely. I highly appreciate that. And guys, listen, if this guy right here at 20, well, now I'm 25, but I started doing my first lending deal that I ever did was at 21 years old. If somebody like me that got D's and F's in high school, didn't go to college, can lend, I promise you could do it too. It's a lot easier than most people make it out to be. But the important thing that Forrest said, if you guys didn't catch it, is to make sure that you have somebody alongside with you that knows what they're doing, that can point you in the right direction. And I think that's very, you know me, Forrest, I've personally been blessed to be around the type of people that I've been around. I've gotten to know a lot of people in High Speed Alliance as well, made some really good friends. But it's important to understand because these people are going to be able to help direct you to where you need to go. And, I know for a fact, and I don't mean to put Forrest on the spot here, but if I needed some advice on, hey, Forrest, I got like $10,000. It's not very much, but what can I do with it? If I gave him a call right now, it's not about who you know, it's about who knows you too. I think that's very key when it comes down to the networking relationships, because I know Mark Zuckerberg, but he doesn't know me. There's that doesn't help me out at all. But Forrest knows me. I know him. We have a relationship. So it's important to make sure you guys understand, get out there, network. We talk about networking all the time on this podcast. So this is nothing new to you guys. Get out there, make some relationships. High Speed Alliance is a good place to start for that. So make sure you guys do that. So we talked about passive income, how to get started into it, why it's important. Now, Forrest, putting you on the spot, what are the top 3 ways that you love to do passive income deals? I don't know if I worded that correctly, but what's your top 3 favorite ways of passive income?
Yeah, sure. That's pretty easy to answer. We talked about private lending. I love private lending. That's very passive. There are a lot of different real estate funds out there, different funds in general that invest in things where a lot of times, and I guess. Yeah, I need to maybe define something right here. Some of the things that I talk about might only be available to accredited investors, and so that it might be. I guess I could define that real quick. Typically, an accredited investor is somebody that has a net worth of $1 million, not including their personal residence, or that's the net worth test. Or from an income test, that would be married filing jointly with income of $300,000. Or more for the last few years and reasonably expect that to continue. Or if you're a single filer, that's $200,000 a year for the last few years and reasonably expect that to go. So there's some, I say that because there's certain types of syndications and funds that are out there that only allow accredited investors. There's some that will allow sophisticated investors, but not getting too far down in the weeds about that. But I would say, to answer your question, private lending and funds and syndications, that's kind of I know that's a little general, and maybe that wasn't what you were looking for.
No, it's good. Perfect. I wanted to dip into your mind and figure out like what you enjoy doing when acquiring passive income. So
yeah, and I want to mention this too. While we're and this is not passive; it's kind of semi-passive. But for a lot of people that are out there, the luxury short-term rental space is really an easy space to get into, and it can be totally passive, but it can be semi-passive or slightly active. It may require a little bit more time, but that's a very high return type of investment that just about anybody, if you can qualify to purchase a rental property, you can qualify usually to do a rental property or to do a short term rental property. So that's another way too that's very attainable and very understandable too. So I mean, I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, absolutely. So we got just a couple more questions. I'd love to keep Forrest on this podcast for another like 2 or 3 hours, but we don't have the time, guys. The time is valuable. Forrest has things to do. He's got to drop his kid off at college today, so we can't keep him on for too long. But we have a couple of other questions real quick. This next one, you guys are not going to miss that, but we're going to talk about legacy. But before I get into it, Forrest, I just thought about this probably like 2 minutes ago. For some reason, it just popped in my head. I'm like, why is this the first time I've had Forrest on the podcast? We're on like episode like 116, 117, and we've never had Forrest on the podcast. I don't understand. We're going to have him back soon, guys. There's a lot of great information.
Love to come back. Thanks. Appreciate you having me.
Yeah, absolutely. But I was just like completely mind blown that this is the first time I've had you on the podcast. But anyway, that was just a side note. So let's talk about legacy, Forrest. You actually mentioned it a couple times in the first couple questions that we talked about. But legacy, what does it mean to you? Why is it so important? Why is it something that you are chasing after with everything in you when it comes down to the actual – let's define legacy first and then why it's so important to you.
Yeah. Great question. And it's so kind of brushed over for, I think, most people, because most people, a lot of people are chasing, and a lot of times they get into real estate and they're, a lot of times they're chasing, financial freedom is one thing I think that draws a lot of people to real estate and this type of investing. And they're chasing financial freedom. And a lot of times they're in survival mode and they're just trying to, they're trying to survive. They're trying to make more money. They're trying to create more time. And, they're just kind of in this rat race and they're on the treadmill and they're just kind of running as fast as they can. And so, one thing that I, try to do for my clients is, that all those things are important. And, sometimes you've got to do those kind of things in order to be able to kind of, take a deep breath and calm down for a second and go, okay, why are we here? Why are we here? And what are we really, trying to accomplish? I mean, a lot of quotations of some, really wealthy people who've, just, work. And then, when you die and, maybe you leave some money behind, but, leaving some money behind and nothing really behind it is kind of an empty gift to those left behind. So, I like to be more strategic about it and just really, try to do some deep thinking. And, a lot of times, I'd say, for 99% of the people that are probably on your podcast, the reason that they do the things they do, and it sometimes comes down to, why do you get out of bed every day? Do you have anything to be excited about? And, why are you getting out of bed? And, why are you going to work? And, a lot of times it's, because I care about my family and I'm a provider and I've got to go do this job and I've got to make some money because we got to make the house payment. We got to make the car payment. We got to send the kids to school, all these things to do. So, I'm going to work because I have to provide. And so, I like for my clients to think a little bit deeper and think, okay, well, let's go a little beyond that. Let's try to think, okay, maybe that's like a year, maybe we're doing that for a year. Maybe for you, maybe that's a 10-year or 15-year thing that you're thinking about doing. But, is that going to matter in 100 years? Mm-hmm. Is that really going to matter? I used one of my ministers, one of my preachers used to say, if it doesn't matter in 100 years, it doesn't matter. And so, that's a deep thought, all the things that you guys, if you're listening out there, 99% of the things that you're worrying about are not going to matter in 100 years. So, and, you're taking all of those things that you're worrying about every single day and you're letting that expand and take up all the neurons in your brain that, that's what you're spending your time and effort trying to solve all those things that, really honestly, in the big scheme of things, do they really matter? Are they really making a difference? Are they making a difference in your kids' lives or in your grandkids' lives or in your great grandkids' lives? Or are they going to make a difference in your community, in your state, in our country, in our world? So, I really like to think deeper. And, to me, that's really what creating a legacy is about, is doing something that's going to matter beyond your time here. Are you going to be remembered for what you did here? And, one day, we're all going to be gone from this earth. And so, what I want to do is, for me, it's clear. I mean, for me, it is about family, and it is about thinking ahead, and it's thinking about doing strategic things with our business so that it will have long-term viability, and designing it in a way where if my kids choose to, they can plug in, and this can be a multi-generational endeavor. It's also about our clients. I mean, that's what gets me excited every day. I mean, I get out of bed because I get to help people. I mean, how cool is that? I mean, everybody wants to do something that matters. Well, I get the opportunity. I get people. I get to be an influencer, and I get to help people make their dreams come true. I mean, how cool is that? I mean, I get to help them make their businesses better, make their lives better, help them get their money to work for them, that allows them to have time and freedom in their life. I mean, how cool is that? I mean, I feel like the luckiest guy in the world that's what I get to do every day. So, it's just, I love being able to share that with my family and with my kids and with our clients. So, for me, hopefully, one day, I'll be gone, but, I think the things that I've done I've got some big plans too. And I know you guys at Good Success have some big plans too. And, one of these days we're going to be gone, but, hopefully, these dreams that we've set into motion will have traction, and they will continue to go, and, they get transferred into other brains, and, it'll continue to go way after we're gone.
Absolutely, man. That's some powerful stuff, guys. Say that quote one more time that your minister told you.
If it doesn't matter in 100 years, it doesn't matter.
Man, that's golden. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I think that one thing that people don't focus on is totally this. And legacy, I think, can go along with your purpose in life as well. But I totally agree with, because legacy does live past you guys. And Forrest, I've even heard Tom say it was actually on one of our podcasts, maybe like 10 or 15 episodes ago. Somebody mentioned legacy on when we were interviewing them, and Tom made the statement that, well, you actually leave a legacy one way or another, whether it's good or it's bad, and you leave a legacy to specific people too. And the amount of people is obviously the bigger the legacy, the amount of people that will remember you, and in 100 years, how many people are going to remember what you did. This is why for us, the Flipping Gary vision is so huge, because if Tom, and it's already happening, like we've already made moves to make this happen. Our Community Go-Giver event was all about flipping the city of Gary, and we're making moves. And if Tom is able to take his vision and flip the city of Gary, and in 100 years, it is a place that is thriving. It is a place that people want to move to. They're not moving away from. It's a vacation destination. I know it sounds crazy, but that's a legacy. But it's also a legacy. Forrest, have you ever read the book Life's Golden Ticket by Brendan Burchard?
No, I have not.
Okay, so it's a good book. I'm going to grab it right here. It's right here. It's a little bit of a parable. So Life's Golden Ticket, you need to read it. It's kind of it's not really much about legacy, but in this book, the main character is that person that we're talking about that hates his life. He's not interested in leaving a legacy. He doesn't, he wakes up every morning not excited to do whatever he's doing. And one of the reasons why that he is that way is because he is fearful for moving the needle. He's fearful for taking his dreams on. He does have dreams, but he doesn't want to go after them because he's afraid that they're going to fail or whatever. But the reason why he's afraid is because his father used to beat him as a kid, and he treated him wrong. His mother passed away at an early age, and his father was, single parent, raised him. And that was the legacy that his father left was
Mm.
that in this book, and it's not a true story, but I mean, we hear that story all the time, right?
Yeah.
That's the legacy that the dad left to this guy, the main character in the book, was that the main character in the book, his dad he beat him, he did not raise him right, and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Now that legacy is not going to be remembered past the main character's life, but it's still a legacy in a way, but it's a bad legacy.
Yeah. Yeah. And you bring up a good point there, because I maybe I alluded to it, but let me hammer it home. You know, legacy's it's not necessarily about money. I mean, it can be about money, but you know, sometimes it's about a business, but it can go, I mean, you know, you can have a legacy of travel, and you can have a legacy of laughter, and you can have a legacy of love, and you know, there's a legacy of faith. I mean, there's a very deep, and actually, I've kind of halfway written a book, and I've done some of the guys know we actually did a legacy workbook. It's like a multi-day workshop that I took some of our inner core people through. But you know, I'm very passionate about it, and there's a lot of very, very deep layers of the onion when you kind of start getting into it. But I love it. But thanks for bringing that up. Legacy not necessarily doesn't have to be. It might not be good. So you certainly want to make sure that kind of legacy certainly gets covered over and built on top of with good things.
And I hope you guys caught what Forrest just said too, is that legacy isn't money either. Like it can be, can be, but it doesn't have to be money, because I think people get that mixed up a lot. So Forrest, we're running out of time here, but I mean, we could stay on this all day long. I love talking about this kind of stuff and having a purpose in life and making sure that you have a legacy that lives past your expiration date. And I think one of the statements I love hearing it was actually on one of our videos. So you showed a video. The first time that I went to High Speed Alliance was from Prince Ia, I believe that's how you pronounce his name, that I believe it, I don't ever remember the title, but it's something about why do you matter or something like that.
It's called A Brand New Ending.
Brand New Ending, that's what it is. So you guys, I'll have Kevin link it below. It's on YouTube, but you guys got to watch the video. It's incredible. It dives super deep into your thought process when it comes down to this. But one statement that I like to say is, who will live their life thanking God that you lived yours? I think that is huge, because you can impact so many lives. Like Forrest is impacting lives right now and helping people achieve their dreams and things they've always wanted in life. And that's incredible. And people are going to thank God that Forrest lived his life to the fullest, even when he passes on. And that's going to be the legacy that Forrest leaves. So incredible stuff. We could go super deep into that, but we don't have time. So 2 more quick questions. First of all, guys, if you are watching Facebook Live, thank you so much for joining us. If you're listening to the podcast, make sure you subscribe to us. We're on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and SoundCloud. And we're going to have Forrest talk about his podcast as well, I believe. But your podcast is only to your members, right?
No, we actually, it's called High Speed Podcast, and we actually have 2 podcasts. We have a public one, and then we do a private one on the back end just for our members only. So that part is private, but we do have a public one. It's High Speed Podcast, and awesome. I'm not as tech savvy as you, Josh. I know it's on our website, and it's on iTunes and SoundCloud and some of those. I don't even know, you're talking so fast. Would you say Stitcher? So.
Yeah, we'll have that linked below. So Kevin's going to go find that right now for us. And so he's going to have Forrest's High Speed Podcast linked below. So you guys make sure you go listen to that. Some fantastic content that's on there. So Forrest, 2 more quick questions for you that we're going to wrap up this interview with. It's been an awesome interview. I appreciate you taking time to be on and allowing us to talk with you. Again, I can't believe this is the first time we've had you on in 100 and some odd episodes, but we'll have you back soon for sure. So good success to us is a very, very key statement. It's obviously one of the reasons why we even chose it, and it comes from the verse of Joshua 1:8, talking about the type of success. So we have our own definition for it, our own meaning. Episode 100, we got the entire team in this room, and we talked about what good success actually means to us. But Forrest, you've been around us long enough to know who we are and kind of what we stand for. What does good success in your eyes mean to you?
Yeah, that's it's pretty easy to answer, and I was I thought I was going to weave this in here somewhere, but to me it's not necessarily about money, but it's about making sure that you're the master of your life, and that you're doing the things that you need to do, and you are understanding that God provides all, and the success that you have is because of him. And when you put those things in to him and allow him, when you go to him and ask for his blessing, and he blesses you and guides your path, there's no telling where you can go. I wanted to. We just had the prayer Jabez this Sunday in the message, and I think that's so. A lot of people may not kind of cross that over into just the entrepreneurial world, but being a business owner and entrepreneurial. To me, it's just like it's God, give me more influence. God, expand my territory. God, expand my business. Allow me to do more than I can do on my own, but not just do that, but bless others through me. But hey, I can't do it alone. I need you to go with me. Go with me, please. And by the way, please protect me. Yeah. So along the way, because I know anybody that's done anything good, there are forces out there that try to stop you. And so, there are people that try to get into your way. So, and to me, that's good success. It's doing it and doing it the right way with honesty and integrity, and doing it in a way where, you treat people right, and you put God first in everything you do. So, I commend you guys, because I see that, that's a core foundation of what you guys do. So, kudos to you guys for always doing that. And, I hope that that's, the way that we're perceived out there as well.
Yeah. Awesome. So we appreciate that very much. Now, the last thing that we have here is, Forrest, you got to leave our audience with one thing, whether it's a quote, piece of advice, a thought that you have, whatever it is. One thing that you got to leave our audience with, what would that be?
He's
rubbing his hands like he's creating something.
So many things. I guess I would just, I hope I provided a lot of value to your listeners today. We hadn't really even talked about this, but let's go here. Stress test your business right now. If you're a business owner, there are some things that are changing in the marketplace right now. Make sure, one thing that's kind of cool, being a registered investment advisor, there's certain things that are required for our business. One of those things is a contingency plan. Mm-hmm. So a contingency plan builds in the fact that if something happens to me, that we've got something in place. So, I would challenge you out there to build a contingency plan, not only for your business, but also for your family. And so, think about what would happen to your business if the market changes. Is what you're doing now, if we go back and we had another 2007, 2008 global financial crisis, will your business make it through that? And if it wouldn't, what would you need to do to get through that? So, be proactive in thinking about those kind of things, and always, building contingency plans for different things that could possibly happen, and you're going to have a successful business. And, last thing I'll say is just, to the Good Success members who might be listening, I'm sure there's a lot of those that are listening. I love you guys. And I love Tom. Thank you, Josh, for having me on. And, if you want to, if you like some of the things that we talked about today, make sure you plug into a mastermind like Good Success, and that's where you're going to find some really great people.
Appreciate it. And that was a good point of view, the contingency plan. I don't think anybody's said that on the interviews that we've had before. So awesome point of view, and a little bit hitting it from a different angle than what most people do. So appreciate that, Forrest. And Forrest, so if somebody wanted to get a hold of you, find out more about you, what would be the best way to make that happen?
Yeah, thanks, Josh. Website is highspeedalliance.com. So you can go there. We've got some information. I will say this. I don't know. I know this is supposed to be, I don't know. Well, I guess we're live, right? We're live. So
yeah.
Our next event, Josh, we had such a great time down on the beautiful beaches of Sandestin, Florida, that everybody said, let's come back here in October.
Oh,
We actually announced it on Friday. We're actually going back to the beach for our October meeting, which is
awesome.
the last weekend of October. And we're going back to the beach. If you hadn't been to our beautiful Gulf of Mexico, Florida beaches, it's fantastic, especially in October. There's no crowd. So check out our website, High Speed Alliance. You can shoot me an email at Dr. B, which is drb@highspeedalliance.com. And love to talk with you. We're always looking for other physicians and dentists who want to optimize their business, and they're looking for alternative investments, and they're looking for help along this journey. So if that's you, shoot me an email or check out our website, and we'd love to talk with you some more. Thanks, Joshua.
Awesome. Hey, Forrest, what are the dates for that? For the
October 26th through the 28th.
Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Friday the 26th through the 28th. Yep.
Okay. I'm thinking about it. I'm like, man, I wish I could go. I'm going to be in Iceland that week before, so I may not be able to go to that.
Just fly right back.
Yeah, that's what I might end up doing. But it's also a couple weeks before our November mastermind, so you're going to be in Florida for, man, you live in the dream here. You're going to go to
that we didn't even mention this, but a backpack business is pretty cool too. So if you we've kind of designed our company where if I've got my laptop, I can go anywhere and I can work. So I'm looking forward to seeing you guys in Miami, and then we've got back-to-back meetings. We will be down at the beach for probably about 10 days and working. So we'll be working hard during that time, but it's fun to work and play. When you've heard that saying that if you enjoy what you do, it's not work, and fortunately for us, that's pretty true.
Yeah, that backpack business thing. That the first time I heard that was at I think it was your February event when Dave Steck mentioned it and talking about how he all he has to have is his backpack and he's good to go.
That's right. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Forrest, we appreciate all that. We appreciate you being on the podcast and letting us pick your brain. A lot of awesome, valuable information. If you guys were listening to the podcast, make sure you take notes and go back and listen to this, and just some very valuable information, a lot of nuggets. So Forrest, we appreciate you sharing with us, and we look forward to having you back soon.
Thanks, man. Anytime, just let me know.
Awesome. So that's going to do it for today's episode, guys. Thank you so much for listening in. And like I said, if you are not already, make sure you have subscribed to the Good Success Podcast. We're on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and SoundCloud, so you guys can subscribe to us there. Leave some reviews for us. We'd love to hear your feedback on that. And then we have just mentioned our Good Success Mastermind. That's going to be a couple weeks after Forrest High Speed Alliance Mastermind in October. Ours is going to be in Miami on November 8, 9, and 10. So make sure you guys go check it out, goodsuccess.com/mastermind. Any of the websites that Forrest mentioned as well for highspeedalliance.com. And then the podcast that we talked about for him is going to be linked in the comments. So Kevin's on the comments right now. He's going to be linking those below. So make sure you guys go back and check those out. Check out highspeedalliance.com, find out more about them. And then go to our website, goodsuccess.com/mastermind to learn more about our mastermind. To see if it's a good fit for you. Make sure you fill out the application, and we'll talk to you soon. So that's going to do it for today's episode, guys. Thank you so much for listening. And remember, whether you're looking to survive, thrive, or matter, our goal is to provide the tools to reach your vision. Thanks again for listening, and until next time.